welcome to Shell Point Today for Tuesday, March the 1st. I'm Rich Nation.
And I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi. Thanks for joining us today. But coming up, we'll learn about an important walk to benefit bladder cancer. FineMark Bank will give us a minute about online banking passwords, and Syndi Bultman will speak with Heather Battey about driving safer longer.
But first, we want to remind you that Shell Point President Peter Dice will be presenting the history of Shell Point at an Academy of Lifelong Learning event at the Village Church. This will be an informative presentation, complete with a pictorial history of Shell Point that encompasses the many changes and growth throughout its 48 years. Everyone is welcome to attend tomorrow at 10:15 a.m.
A couple of other Academy classes we want to mention are 5-session courses for the creative crowd. Experiencing Colored Pencil Painting begins this Wednesday and runs every Wednesday in March for those who've signed up. The classes start at 1 p.m. in the Sable Room. Also, Painting with a Palette Knife runs every Thursday in March, also at 1 p.m. in the Sable Room.
Heather Battey has a couple of special people to introduce to us now. Resident Will O'Hara of Teledora, a member of BCAN, and Karen Godfrey, who heads up the Fort Myers support group. BCAN stands for Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network. Will and Karen are survivors of bladder cancer and recently joined Heather in our studios to talk about bladder cancer in the upcoming walk on March 5th.
Hi, I'm Heather Battey, Resort Services and Wellness Manager. Today I'm here with very special guests. They're here to discuss one of the silent cancers, and that's bladder cancer. I have volunteer advocates, Karen Godfrey, and our very own resident, Will O'Hara. They're both here to talk about not only bladder cancer awareness, but also BCAN and our upcoming walk. So thank you both for being here and discussing just really this touchy and interesting subject.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
We're pleased to be here and to be able to talk to you about our journeys with bladder cancer and what BCAN has done for us in this time frame.
So BCAN actually stands for?
Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network.
Okay. And you actually run one of the support groups, the one that's right here in Fort Myers?
Since 2009, we've had a support group in our area, and it covers basically Southwest Florida. It is a support group of caregivers as well as the patients, and runs from varying degrees of diagnosis. We have speakers that come in and talk to us about treatments, and I think the biggest thing that is the most help for our support group is the sharing and the experiences that we have in our own treatments that helps each other learn a little bit more about bladder cancer.
And you both are survivors,
right?
Yes.
Of bladder cancer. And Will, you currently are going through some treatments.
Yes, I am. I'm going through, on this coming Friday, will be my 20th BCG infusion into my bladder. It will be a total of 27 over this 2.5 years of treatment, but yes, I am.
Now let's talk a little bit about what Will shared with me is that this is a silent cancer because not a lot of people talk about it, and it's also, is it hard to diagnose, or what is that?
Well, how were you diagnosed, Karen?
For the most part, yes. We really don't have symptoms that will send us to the doctor. The most telling symptom is if we see blood in our urine. In my case, I had microscopic blood in my urine that my doctor would see when I had my yearly checkups, but I had no other symptoms. So no one was even looking at anything serious. And after about the 3rd year of seeing microscopic blood in my urine, I developed what I thought was a urinary tract infection, which really wasn't that. It was the cancer at that time had already become invasive into the muscle wall of my bladder. So when I was diagnosed in 2003, I was already muscle invasive. And at that time, BCAN was not in existence. So I went on the internet looking for information. And all I could find were reports that doctors would write for doctors. It was not in layman's terms, so I really couldn't find a lot of information. So in 2005, when BCAN came on the scene, I was willing and ready to jump on board and see what I could do as a volunteer to help.
Absolutely. And you're both your own self-advocates, too, at this point.
Right.
Both for yourselves, too, and for Beacon, and really promoting not only this walk that we have coming up here, but also just the support groups and sharing your knowledge and education about this.
Now, how I found out was very similar, but I had a physical in May. I just spent the winter here in Florida. I felt great. I've been exercising every day, lost a lot of weight. I went back, and every year I have a physical, and I found out that they don't do urine tests as a routine part of a physical anymore. I never take no for an answer. I said, I want a physical, a urine test. Well, we don't do them. I said, I want a urine test. Well, if you want one, I guess we'll do it. 7 days later, the doctor called me and said, you're not going to believe this. We found microscopic white blood cells in your urine. You've probably got a urinary tract infection. Take an antibiotic and we'll recheck it. After 20, I took the antibiotic. After 20 days, they rechecked it, and I had even less or more white blood cells. And they said, well, let's just give it, let it run its course. And I thought, no, I don't think so. I called a urologist, and we talked, and he said, well, there's 3 different things I need to do. And the third test he did, he found out I had bladder cancer. So you need to be your own advocate in these.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Well, we here at Shell Point are going to be sponsoring this walk, the Bladder Cancer Walk, which is coming up March 5th.
Right.
And the kickoff is at 8 a.m. and it's going to be at Bell Tower.
Right.
So we're going to be there to support you both and any other survivors and their families dealing with bladder cancer.
We are so happy that you all are joining us in our walk this year in helping us to promote awareness, because that's one of our most pressing challenges, is to be able to get out there and talk to people. For some reason, it's a little bit difficult for the patient to talk about, and it's difficult for the person who hears about it to know what kind of a question to ask, because it involves bodily waste. You know, we really don't talk about that.
Right.
So how do you ask the question from someone?
And it definitely needs all the support it can get.
Right.
So please join us and join Shell Point for this walk coming up at Bell Tower. You can register at either service desk. And this walk, again, is the Bladder Cancer Walk, March 5th.
And you even get a free T-shirt for walking.
Thank you, and stay happy and healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a strong enough password to protect your online accounts? If you have financial information that's accessed through the web, then you want to keep that as secure and private as possible. Anna Smith of FineMark Bank has some advice for us about passwords in today's FineMark Minute.
Hello, I'm Anna Smith, Managing Executive at FineMark Bank on the island. In today's FineMark Minute, we are talking about creating strong passwords for online accounts. Many of you likely have financial and personal information accessible through the web. Given the damage that can happen if someone discovers your username or password, we have a few common sense rules to keep your accounts safe. First, never share your username and password. Also, don't make it easy for others to see you entering a password on a computer keyboard, your phone, or ATM keypad. Next, make sure you're using strong passwords. It should never be a word found in a dictionary. Today's cyber criminals use sophisticated dictionary programs to try and unlock passwords. It is better to use a combination of numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols. And a long password is generally better than a short one. Also, avoid using personal information that may be easy to guess. If you have to write your passwords down to remember them, put them in a safe place, not readily accessible by others. Don't leave them on a desk next to your computer, and don't keep them on a file stored on your computer or mobile device. And while it's a lot to remember, use different passwords for different accounts. The danger in using the same username and password for everything is, if one account is compromised, all your accounts are at risk. It's a good idea to change your passwords periodically and change it immediately if you see any suspicious activity on your account. And finally, don't let your guard down. A little common sense can go a long way in protecting you from cyber thieves. The key is to avoid common mistakes and stay on top of things by regularly checking your accounts. If you have any questions about today's topic, call or stop by FineMark Bank on the island. We'd be happy to help you. I'm Anna Smith with today's FineMark Minute.
It's time now to talk about some useful tips to help keep you safer on the roads and behind the wheel. Heather Battey speaks with Syndi Bultman from Lee Memorial Trauma Center about the aspects of highway safety that will be addressed in the upcoming Health Connections class, Driving Safer Longer.
I'm Heather Battey with Resort Services, and today I have with me registered nurse Syndi Bultman. She is from Lee Memorial Trauma Center, and we're here to discuss one of the upcoming Health Connection programs called Driving Safer Longer. Thank you, Syndi, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you work for Lee Memorial Trauma Center.
Correct.
And what do you do there?
I do injury prevention in our entire trauma district. So I cover all 5 counties, which is Charlotte, Collier, Lee, Hendry, Glades, and actually parts of DeSoto County.
Okay. And this Driving Safer Longer is a program that's put on by you yourself, or how does it work?
This program is actually initially from Emergency Nurses Association, and we've added a few things that are for Lee County to this one and expanded it, and we call it Driving Safer Longer because we want people to come and listen to us. It's not about taking your driver's license away. It's little tricks and tips that you can use so that you're safer behind the wheel. Because motor vehicle crashes are actually the #1 trauma alert that we have at the trauma center. That has been #1 since way back when we started. And people over the age of 74 actually start having a higher number of motor vehicle crashes that are fatal. And part of that isn't just because of the age, it's because of all the other medical conditions that are occurring with them. So we're trying to give them some little reminder tips on how they can do everything longer.
So you're probably seeing it from different angles too, because now we have accidents that are happening from talking on the phone, texting, and just being preoccupied with other things.
Correct.
And that's at any age.
Correct.
And then now you're also having this, which is Take Care 2, which is a program that's geared towards the aging population.
Correct.
So are you seeing a rise in motor vehicle accidents?
We have had an increase in our motor vehicle crashes the last couple of years. It's been steadily going up again. We had that nice drop in 2008 when we had been having so many fatalities on our roadways. We started having increased law enforcement, more education that was going on. We go to the high schools and speak to them as well. And so we did see that decline, but most of that was because at that point in 2008, we had our economic crash, and so less people were on the roadway because jobs came to a halt. Construction wasn't occurring anymore, and our gas prices were going up. And as our gas prices go up, people actually drive the speed limit because they want to conserve their gas.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
they follow the rules a little bit more, and they plan their trips rather than just darting out at the last minute. Well, as gas prices go down, people seem to speed more. We see a lot of that coming into another class that I do that's court-ordered. So we have more speeding. We still have the DUIs. We have the distracted driving. That's always going to be an issue. And it's not just on your cell phone or texting. We find people reading their ebooks. We have them putting on makeup. You're eating behind the wheel. Distracted driving is taking your eyes off that road for anything.
Can you pinpoint one thing that actually causes the accidents more than others, or is it just across the board?
It's across the board, although probably a majority, anywhere from 48 to 52% of the motor vehicle drivers that come into the trauma center have alcohol or drugs on board for our trauma alerts. So that would play a
That's
huge part.
understanding, yes. So this program that you're going to be presenting about driving safer longer, without giving too much away about the program, what are some of the things we're going to be hearing?
We're going to be looking at different things that they can do. Like we see that crashes increase when older adults make left-hand turns. So a suggestion would be make 3 rights to get to where you need. It's actually safer for them, and they have less of an impact. The intersection crashes are always the worst for anybody of any age, and as we start getting older and have more medical issues, and that becomes a greater problem for us. So we go over that. We talk to them about different things they should talk to their physician about. Even walking, if you continue to walk, do some activities at home, that's all helping to improve your driving abilities as well, because you're maintaining your muscles.
Absolutely.
And your agility. So we talk about that. We talk a little bit about medications, but also how to drive a little bit safer, how to make sure they've got their side mirrors adjusted properly so they can see what's around them. And we talk to them about seeing their eye doctor as well.
Well, we definitely know here in Southwest Florida there's plenty of traffic. So,
There is.
so anything that we can learn to drive safer longer is definitely going to be beneficial for all of us.
Right.
So again, this program is Driving Safer Longer. It's on Thursday, March 3rd at 2:30 p.m. in the Grand Cypress. And you can sign up at either service desk. Thank you, and stay happy and healthy.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Vanscoy.
And I'm Bev Chandley.
And we're going to let you know all of today's activities. We start bright and early with Bend, Breathe, and Balance in the Health Club at 7:15. And at 8 o'clock we have Round Robin Doubles Tennis at the Woodlands. The Stamp Ministry will be gathering in the Stamp Room down on the Island Tunnel at 8:15. And 8:30 is the time for the Ladies Golf Association to play at the Shell Point Golf Club. Bocce will be played at the Woodlands Bocce Court at 9 o'clock. And we move to 9:15 for Caregiver Support Group Therapy in the conference room of the Medical Center. You do need to sign up for that. Also at 9:15, the Memory Care Group will be in the conference room of Behavioral Health. That is also sign-up required. Open painting is available in the Art Studio at 9:15. And 9:30 is the time for match play mixed doubles tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. We have the Women's Ministries Bible Study in the Village Church at 9:30. The Susie Q heads out at 10 o'clock to Woody's Waterfront Restaurant. That is sign-up required. And at 10:15, Through the Bible Study group will be in the Osprey Room. The Caregiver Support Group Therapy will occur at 10:30, and that's in the conference room of the Medical Center. You do need to sign up for that. The Memory Care Group will also be meeting at 10:30 in the conference room of Behavioral Health. And we move to 11:45 for our LifeQuest Living Healthy. That's in the Osprey Room. Here's Bev to tell you all about our afternoon.
Thank you, Caitlin. We're going to have mixed progressive bridge in the game room of the Woodlands at 12:30 today. And at 12:45, we have a Health Connections class, fitness room orientation down in the Health Club. At 1:15, the Knitters group will be meeting in the Osprey Room on the island. Also at 1:15, the Rollicking Recorderists will be in the Tarpon Room, which is down in the tunnel. Shuffleboard will be down on the play courts behind the Resident Activities Center at 1:15. And our last 1:15 activity is the Women's Ministries Prayer Group for Missions in the Hospitality Room of the Village Church. The Stamp Ministry will be meeting in the Sable Room of the Woodlands at 1:30. And we have a 2:45 Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility Advanced. That's in the Health Club, and that's currently full. And at 4:15, we have the final Tai Chi Chuck class for this session, and that's down in the Health Club on the island. At 7:30, we have the Barbary Coast Dixieland Band playing at the Village Church. You do need to have a ticket for that event. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we will be back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday, the 1st of March. At 10 o'clock, we have Coffee with a Neighbor Antique Appraising in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. Don't forget your ticket. At 10:15, we have iPhone Talking is a New Typing continuing in the Manatee Room on the island. And at 1:15, Facebook Basics on the iPad continues in the Technology Teaching Center on the island. At 4:30, the Alpha course continues in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. I'd like to tell you what's coming up tomorrow in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. We have the history of Shell Point with our own president, Peter Dice, and we begin experiencing colored pencil painting with Karen Hubbard of Lakewood. It's Tuesday, and I would like to extend a big thank you to all the volunteers who volunteer on behalf of all of us in our Larson Pavilion. We do have some openings popping up, openings on our library cart, our beverage cart. We're looking for people for resident relations, and we hope that you will give me a call for more information.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is salmon cakes with a green pea puree and caramelized shallot potatoes. The dinner special is the carved turkey buffet for $13.95. The soup of the day is cream of chicken. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a chicken tender sandwich on a roll with fries for $7.75. The dinner special is country fried steak with mashed potatoes and mixed vegetables for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are seafood crepes for $16.95 or ribeye and shrimp for $22.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church. You know, we strive to be a community here at the Village Church, a people who hold things in common. That's what a community is all about. It involves shared beliefs and practices when we speak about a church community. But what kind of community? Well, previously I focused on two elements of our mission that we strive to experience in the Village Church. We seek to be a community of forgiveness, and we seek to be a community of purpose. In each case, we centered those concepts around a key biblical text, a text that summarizes the essence of that value. So in the case of a community of forgiveness, we focused on the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. The centrality of forgiveness in Scripture is unquestioned. In the case of a community of purpose, we focused on that wonderful text in Acts when Jesus tells his disciples that they are to be his witnesses. This gives our lives purpose, a reason to continue in life and to continue in relationship to God and to our neighbors, being the face of Christ to others. But you know, we also aspire to be a community of hope. We desire to be a hopeful people, and that requires a bit of explanation. You know, when I'm playing golf and I'm standing over an 8-foot putt, I hope it will go in. But it doesn't always go in. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but I always hope it does. When we use the word hope in that way, it speaks of uncertainty. I really don't know if the ball will drop into the cup. It could go either way. Sometimes they go in and sometimes they don't, but I hope they go in. But the biblical use of the word hope is meant to convey the opposite. It conveys the sense of certainty. Biblical hope is assured. We hope because we are confident that God will do what he has promised, and his promises cannot fail. That kind of hope creates confidence and optimism in the believer. If we trust God and are convinced that he is trustworthy, we know he will accomplish what he has promised. It's hope because it hasn't happened yet. It's still in the future. But because God's integrity is at stake, it is a certain hope. The Bible is filled with references about this kind of hope. In Romans 8, we are reminded that our world is fallen, broken, and desperately in need of redemption. But God has promised that redemption, that there will become a time when our messed up world will be restored to a glory even beyond its original condition at creation. The text in Romans puts it this way: "For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself also will be set free from its slavery to corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God." That same passage also speaks about our own redemption, even the redemption of our diminishing bodies. The text continues in Romans 8, and not only this, it says, "But also we ourselves, having the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our body." So we are encouraged to continue to maintain a confident optimism in spite of our circumstances or the circumstances in the world around us. The text in Romans continues. It says, "For in hope we have been saved, but hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what he already has? But if we hope for what we do not see, with perseverance we wait eagerly for it." I trust that you'll join us in that hope and become part of a community of hope, a community of optimistic people, in spite of circumstances, who are confident that God will fulfill every one of his promises. Promises to redeem us, even our bodies, and to restore our fallen world. And so, as Romans says later, now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you will abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. May God bless you. Thank you for joining us in Village Church Connections, and I trust that you will also aspire to become part of a community of hope.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Shell Point Today for Tuesday, March 1st. On tomorrow's show, Bev Chanley will talk about an upcoming meeting for all you travel enthusiasts who are planning exciting getaways. We'll check with the community thrift store to find out how you can get involved with them, and we'll introduce someone new to the Resort Services team. Finally, we'll show you our newest way to get a bird's eye view of Shell Point and the exciting things to come. All this on tomorrow's program, so we hope you'll tune in. Until then, I'm Rich Nation.
And I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi. As always, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.